Good afternoon. Hey, Liberty University. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Valerie Morris, and I am so excited to get to share with you guys today a little bit about LinkedIn. And I'm going to share just a little bit about myself before we dig in here. I do social media consulting and social media management for a number of clients, and that includes people close to where I live here in Colorado, and also people who are on each coast. I've worked with people all over the country, including some people that are literally right around the corner from you guys over there in Virginia. So very excited to share with you guys. And some of these people that I've met and worked with are actually people that I've met through LinkedIn. So I can personally attest to the power that there is in this amazing social media tool. And it's one that I think college students, especially young people who are just getting into the workforce, if you can embrace social media from a professional standpoint, I think you will be setting yourself up for major, major success. So with that said, just a little bit about me so you can feel like you know who's talking to you. I am married. I have 2 dogs, 2 cats, and 4 goats. I live in a rural setting, just about 45 minutes from Denver, 45 minutes from Colorado Springs, and I live a dual life where I'm very plugged in by day, and I'm very unplugged by nights and weekends. And so learning this country living, which some people, it's just so natural, but for me it was not. I was raised in a Chicago suburb, and I actually went to a small private Christian college called Judson University, where I studied architecture. And we may dig into that a little bit more as to how I evolved from architecture to marketing. But I am, you can find me online. You can check out, if you want to see some of the behind the scenes of the unplugged side of my life, you can check me out on Instagram at Morris Acres. And then, of course, you can check me out on LinkedIn for the professional side, and you'll be seeing a lot of that here as we dig in. So today we're going to dig into some of the basics of LinkedIn, and then also some of the strategies to be able to use it really well. And I really think, like I alluded to earlier, I think college students have one of the best opportunities today, because you have a tool in front of you that allows you to reach out to a ton of people from all over the world in specific industries and even companies that you want to get connected to and work for. It's easier than ever before to be able to go get your dream job or go get that perfect starter job to be able to propel your career. So we're going to dig in here and take a look at just some basics. I'm going to use my LinkedIn profile as kind of a just template, but I will tell you right now, I do not have it all figured out. My LinkedIn profile, I probably need to spruce things up on a regular basis, and I probably don't do it as much as I should. So if you see something that's not perfect, know that most people's profiles are not perfect, and yours will not be either. But if you can get your profile in a good, healthy spot, I think you'll be setting yourself up for some really good success. So with that said, I'm going to jump over here to our we'll go to the beginning. So because I'm going to be jumping screens here a little bit, I'm going to keep it here on just the PowerPoint version. And we're going to talk through, we're going to talk through today the anatomy of a healthy LinkedIn presence. And originally I had LinkedIn profile here instead of the word presence, but I really think that the presence, it's bigger than just having a good profile. So we're going to start talking about the profile, but we're going to talk big picture today about your overall presence, and that is not just a one and done type of thing. Yes, it's great to focus on cleaning up your LinkedIn profile, but you have to be active on the channel to be able to really maximize it. So I want us to think about LinkedIn as far as systems of the body. We have our skeletal system, circulatory system, digestive system, They all have different functions and they all operate slightly differently. So I want you to think about your LinkedIn profile as having different systems in the body. And some of those main systems that we're going to talk about today are the summary section, the roles, the skills, recommendations, and then we're going to talk about a few other little tidbits as well. So let's jump in to your summary. Now, I have here just a preview of my summary, and you can see here that it's a couple of paragraphs, and I have written mine from the first person point of view. Some people like to write theirs from the third person point of view, and that's totally fine. I personally have found that when I write it from a first person perspective, I'm able to get more into the core of what makes me more unique. But the summary section is a very strategic point in the LinkedIn profile that allows you to really showcase big picture what you do. So for college students, this is a really great opportunity for you to showcase big picture, what you're all about, what you're doing. You may not necessarily have the specific roles and specific tangible experiences of I worked at this place from here until here, but you do have an opportunity to give kind of an overview of what you're all about. So let's say that you are really wanting to get involved in, I don't know, some sort of, we'll just talk marketing. Let's say you're really wanting to get going and working in a marketing agency. You can showcase, maybe you're really interested in working with nonprofits in marketing. That's a really great place to start because it's very easy to volunteer your time and get the experience that you need. But you could talk about the why, behind why you care so much about nonprofits. The key thing here in your summary, though, is to make sure that you have some keywords. For example, I have digital marketing here in my second sentence. Well, I guess it's technically my third sentence, but here in the first paragraph, digital marketing, I have website, social media, blogging, search engines. Those are all keywords that people are using to search for different professionals. So people might be looking for social media expert in Denver, Colorado. So because I have the word social media, Denver, those are two key things in my profile that are going to trigger me to show up in search results. Now, you can see here that I've also included a little bit more of the philosophy behind what I do. So the first paragraph, I talked a little bit about some of the key terms of, some of the key strategies and things that I work with. But then I also have, in the second paragraph, a little bit more of the why and the philosophy behind it. And so my philosophy is very focused on data-driven strategies and also telling people stories. So that tells people, if somebody is really just looking for bottom line, I'm wanting the cheapest, fastest results out there, they may not connect with these phrases that I've used. However, people that want real results that are backed by the information and the results, they're going to be all about this sentence. And then at the end, I include some basic things, very basically how people can reach out to me. You want to make it very easy for people to connect with you. As a student, I would be cautious about putting your phone number. However, if you have a safe email address, often, if you've got an .edu email address that you want to put in there, that's a very nice professional email address to put in there. And it just make it easy for people to be able to connect with you if they want. Then as you scroll down the page a little bit, you're going to get to your roles. And as far as your roles go, I highly recommend, you could put in all of the basics. Your role, your job description, the company, the time that you've been there, and where it's located. Those are kind of the basics. LinkedIn will prompt you to fill those out. However, a lot of people leave the description part of their roles empty. And this is a really huge opportunity for you, again, to put some of those keywords featuring your expertise in that role, what you did, and some of your philosophy behind it. You also can talk about if you've worked, like for me, I've mentioned that I worked with a lot of private practices. I've also worked with a lot of nonprofits. And so people that are looking for those specific types of companies that work with their type of industry, they're going to love to see that. Now, of course, I realize that this is a lot of words. It's a lot. However, it's also a really great opportunity to stuff your profile with some meat. And as a college student, you may have roles that warrant putting a lot of meat in them, and you may have some that are a little self-explanatory. For example, if you simply were a caddy at a golf course, I would feature things like professionalism, high level of customer service, prompt attention to detail, great communication skills. Those would be some key phrases that I would work into describing what you did at that role. People can kind of know what a golf caddy does, but let's talk big picture about what skills did you get out of doing that role. What can you spin that job into, okay? Now, another key feature is the media piece. And this is going to be important because it gives you an opportunity to put some links. And I will just pop, let me see if I can get over to it really easily. Oops, not photos. Safari. Okay, so on my LinkedIn profile, I have the opportunity to edit my profile. And when I edit it, I have the opportunity to, oh goodness, it is going crazy with media. A nice little glitch here with LinkedIn showing my website 6 times. But you can add a link or you can upload some media. And you can see here these are external documents. So let's say you've got photos, you've got a website, you've got videos and different presentations. This is a key place that if you've done something to work, like working for another company, for example, I worked as an architectural intern for a few summers, and there were different 3D models that I had created. There were a lot of professional drawings that I had created. Those are some things that I could have uploaded as individual photos. I could have done walkthrough videos of the 3D model, posted it to YouTube, and then embedded the YouTube link or the actual video file. Either way, those are things that the 3D model, for example, was technically owned by the firm that I worked for. However, I helped create it, so it's something that I can exhibit in my portfolio. So as long as I say that it's not, I give attribution to the fact that it was part of this other firm's work, but it's something that I can showcase that I helped create. This is a cool place to kind of put that kind of content in there because it is related to that specific role. Now, when you are working on some of your other school projects, for example, you can do what's called, you've got accomplishments. And so if you, let's see, how did I get there? When you're on your profile, there's this edit new profile section. And it's kind of quick links to get to the different places that you might want to go. And so let's say that you have published an article in the school newspaper. Perhaps you want to list your published work. Let's say you did, if you wanted to list out all of your coursework, this might be a really good thing to do at the beginning of your career. As you get more into your career, you may not necessarily care about that. Honestly, at this point in my career, and I'm only 10 years out from graduating college, people don't ask me as much about my degree because I've had my own business for so many years. Depending upon the type of industry you're in, people may care about the courses you took, or they may not. I'll also tell you, and your professors may not like this, but I very rarely get asked what my GPA was. People care about the degree and they care about the experience that you bring to a project or a job. They don't necessarily care about the exact GPA. So while I will say my GPA helped me out a lot at the beginning when I was first out of college, big picture, people want to see if you can actually follow through on what you say your expertise and your skills are. So back to featuring things. Let's say you have a big project, big senior project, or maybe it's just some, frankly, big project that you did for a class. I would feature it under the project section and add a project to your profile. And that will show up further down on your profile underneath all of the big stuff. It'll show up down here as you get down to the bottom of your profile. I personally have not added any projects. And like I said before, my profile is not perfect. So maybe that's something that I want to go back and do. So your roles are really important. And I think as a college student, you need to be very cognizant of the fact that you may not have a lot of roles, and that is okay. That said, the roles that you do have, I would recommend looking for opportunities for how can you spin this role into an opportunity to showcase some of your top selling skills. You're good at time management, you're good at customer service, you're great at communicating with difficult concepts, whatever the case may be. Look at what you can pull out of that experience and use within the description of your role. I will also mention at this point, if I could go back again, I would be very proactive about finding opportunities to volunteer my time in short-term projects that allowed me to get real-world experience in my industry. For example, had I been a marketing student or a business student back in the day, I would have found, looking back, granted I did not have this knowledge back then, but if I had this knowledge now, I would go back and I would find a couple of nonprofits in my local area, something that I cared about, felt connected to, and ask them, hey, I would like to intern for you for a semester or for the school year, and I would like to volunteer X amount of hours per month to work on marketing-related projects for you. That might include helping them with their social media strategy and posts. Might involve creating newsletters for them, email newsletters, helping them create brochures and different things like that. Nonprofits are always looking for help. They never have enough monetary resources to hire the types of teams that they need to execute projects like that. So if you are looking for an opportunity, start with a nonprofit, do it for a length of time, approach them with an idea of this is what I would like to do, and allow yourself to be in a situation where you have someone that's supervising the work. That allows you an opportunity to get a referral, a recommendation, some real-world experience, and people don't need to know that you weren't getting paid for that. Again, there are lots of paid opportunities out there for people, but there are also lots of nonprofits that need help, and you guys as college students need the experience. I can tell you right now, if you have even just one little foot in the door in your industry with experience, it's that much easier to get a full-time job or the next job in your actual field. So get the free experience if you can, and it will be well worth your time. It'll be well worth the resume experience that you can put, and these roles are all about your resume. So let's jump over to skills, and this is where they call these featured skills and endorsements. And you can see here that I've got a number of these. These are not even all of them. I had to to crop the screen because the list just kept going on. LinkedIn gives you about 30, maybe more. I'd have to look up the exact number of skills. But this is an opportunity for you to kind of push people in the right direction. So I'm going to pop back over to my LinkedIn profile, and I'm going to jump down to where I have the skills. And next to it, it says add a new skill. And when I click on that, it gives me the opportunity to type, we'll just put data analysis because that's what it wanted me to put. But I could have put public speaking. Okay, and I can hit add. Now that's going to show up in my giant list of 40-something skills. And you can see here that I don't have anyone that's endorsed me for public speaking yet. That said, I have been endorsed for a number of other skills. And I personally have kind of tweaked and adjusted what skills show up on this list. You can see here that I have, actually I do have public speaking already. Well, I'm going to go up and edit this then. And I'm going to take the one that I just added and delete it and save it. Now, that said, when you add skills to your profile, when people log into LinkedIn, they may get prompted to endorse people that they're connected to. LinkedIn will give you little boxes sometimes that say, hey, you know Valerie Morris, you're connected to her. Would you like to endorse her for these 3 skills? And if you feel like I have those skills, you can easily hit endorse, endorse, endorse. And then I will get a little notification up here in the top right that says, oh, John Smith endorsed you for public speaking. Now, I will say that it's a little spammy. I have people sometimes that I don't know very well that have never seen me speak in public that have endorsed me for public speaking. But what's cool about that is the more that I get endorsed for certain topics, the more likely I will come up as a search result when somebody does a search for public speaking Denver. Okay, so again, because I've got these keywords in my profile, I'm helping people understand that Valerie knows how to do certain things. The other nice thing is it's called something called social proof. Social proof is essentially saying, at first glance, there's other people that have said that Valerie knows her stuff on this. Therefore, I can trust that Valerie probably knows her stuff on this topic. So the nice thing about this is my largest endorsement category is social media marketing. I have the most endorsements there. Then graphic design. I have done a lot of work in these 2 subjects, okay? It fits because when people get to know me and know what I do for my business, those 2 skill sets are very highly connected to what I do on a day-to-day basis, so it makes sense. One thing I'll also say about the skills is that I would recommend if you know specific types of programs, specific coding languages, you know PHP or HTML, don't just put programming, list out HTML as a skill, CSS as a skill, PHP as a skill. I mean, list them all out so that when people are looking at your profile, you've already told them. They don't even have to ask the question of, well, do you know HTML as well? Well, yeah, because I already told you that I did. So the skills section is a really great place to kind of subconsciously tell people who are checking you out, this is what I'm good at already. And they don't have to, it doesn't even have to be a question in their mind. Okay? So then let's pop over to recommendations. Recommendations are one of the best things that you can get on your profile. And I will tell you the best way to get recommendations is to give them and ask for them. So LinkedIn makes it really easy to ask to be recommended. And honestly, unless you've done specific work under the work of a supervisor, I wouldn't really push this side of it. What if you are under a supervisor at, if you're at a good point in the relationship, maybe it's right before you leave, maybe it's right after you've left, maybe you worked there for the summer and you're coming back. While things are fresh, ask to be recommended by your supervisor. This will allow you to be given more and more recommendations. The more that you can get a recommendation from a real person with a face and a name and the ability to look and see what's going on with their business, a way for people to validate that, yes, this is a real person giving a real recommendation. The more that you can get those, it's really great. So you can see here, it's just showing my top 2 recommendations that I've gotten here in the last year or so. And you can see that as a whole, I've received 12 recommendations and I've given 19. Now, I could increase the amount of recommendations that I'm giving. And odds are, most people, when you give a recommendation to them, odds are that'll trigger, oh yeah, I could give this person a recommendation as well. It's almost like, oh gosh, I feel indebted to you because you gave me such a really nice recommendation. Let me give one back to you. And so in that kind of situation, I would recommend giving recommendations to people that you worked with. So let's say you're working, you're doing a summer internship at a nonprofit. I would give recommendations to any of the people within that nonprofit that you've worked with on a close level. Odds are they will return the favor. Now, at the beginning, I mentioned that you may want to ask for recommendations. And what I mean by that is that I would send a personal email to different people that you know and ask them to give recommendations for your work. As a student, you may start with a professor, which I think is a great opportunity. If you've got a class that you worked really well in, were really hard in, maybe you had a class that you struggled through, but you worked really hard and you pulled off the grade, I would frame an email to your professor saying, I'm really trying to get to showcase on my portfolio my attention to detail, my dedication to work through and learn. Wondering if you could if you'd be willing to recommend me on LinkedIn. Doing it that way makes it feel a smidge more personal, and also allows you an opportunity to kind of frame what your professor or whoever you're asking, framing them with kind of what key qualities you already want them to feature in their recommendation. So I would highly recommend working on building up your recommendations. I don't know that there's necessarily a magic number, but the more that you have and the more frequent you have, the better. So for me, I'm looking at this even as I'm talking to you and I'm thinking, gosh, I need to get some recent recommendations. I need to get a fresher recommendation, something that has a 2017 date on it versus 2016. I mean, a year ago, and it's not the worst thing in the world, but at the same time, if I continue to have good recommendations as a whole, people look at the history. If someone's going to read through all of them, they're going to see a history and a pattern of good quality work and a good working experience with me. And that's what you want people to see with you. So we've kind of walked through some of the basic systems. Jumping back over to the basics of our profile, I'm going to say a couple other things before we jump into kind of the what next. Okay? Excuse me. You have a cover photo here at the top. A lot of people leave this blank. I would recommend using a tool like Canva, canva.com, or using something like Photoshop or Illustrator, if you know how to use those programs, to make a cover photo that tells a little bit more. So for me, I have my name in kind of profiles, and I want people to know that I do data-driven social media marketing, and they can easily see where my website is. That's what I want people to know about my company. The other thing is that you want to have a photo. As a student, you must put a photo in there. I can't tell you how many times, when you're looking at who to connect with, If you don't have a real photo in your profile, people are less likely to connect with you. Or if they do connect with you, they're already going to have a lesser opinion of your professionalism. So add the photo in. Sometimes your senior photos can work really, really well. Sometimes senior photos look a little juvenile. So I would ask a few friends, maybe your professors, maybe talk to your business or marketing professors, or talk to your peers in your group here that you're meeting with tonight, and ask for opinions. Say, I'm thinking of using one of these 5 photos. Which one do you think looks the most professional? I've struggled with this because I started my business when I was in my mid to late 20s, and I still looked very young. While it's a blessing, you know, from the aging goddesses, like, I'm thankful that I may age a little slower, but sometimes I often want to project the fact that I have the experience, that I'm not 19. I want people to think that I'm older than I am. And so first impressions matter. And so whether you're wearing a suit, whether you're wearing a button-up shirt, whatever the case may be, think about the fact that if you put a juvenile-looking photo in your profile, people are going to treat you like a juvenile. If you put a professional photo, people are going to treat you like a professional. So be careful about what photo you use, but always use a photo. The other thing is that up here on the right, you have the opportunity to edit your public profile and URL. And let's see how fast this will load for us. This gives you the opportunity to edit the URL that people will use. Right here, I've edited mine to be Valerie L. Morris. And if I hit the pencil, I can edit that. I would recommend going in and editing yours to make it be as close to your name as possible. It's just a subtle thing, but it's one thing that is a really effective thing to do. And it also makes it easier for people to find you. So let's jump over to, we've talked through kind of the basic systems of the profile, but now let's get the blood pumping, okay? So within your profile, you've got it, let's say you spend some time, you clean it all up, you get it in a good place. There are 3 things that I think you're really going to care about to actually make your profile come alive and your presence come alive. And that is networking, showcasing your experience, and a job search. And so I kind of want to talk through these three pieces. And when it comes to networking, I would recommend connecting with at least 500 people. And I say that because on your profile, if you have less than 500 people, it will show the exact number. So if you have 153 people you're connected with, it will show 153 here. However, once you hit the 500 mark, it will just show 500 plus. And that's a really simple thing to do, but it makes you look really connected. And as a college student, if you can set yourself above the rest of the pack coming out of college and look very well connected, you'll be in a very healthy spot. So know that people do pay attention to this number, and if you want people to kind of get a good first impression of you, go ahead and do this, work your way to get 500 people that you're connected to. Now, as a college student, you may be thinking, gosh, I don't know if I know 500 people. And that number can feel really hard because not everyone is on LinkedIn, not everyone you invite to connect will accept you back, but you can start and you can get there. And this is the part where you need to be a little wise. First, start with people that you know. Start with your professors. Start with fellow students who are also building out their LinkedIn profiles. Start with your parents and parents of your friends. I will tell you, you are about to go into a shift here where the friends of your parents could be coworkers of yours. They could be potentially friends of yours. I have friends that could be my grandmother at this point in life, just based on our ages. But because we're both in the adult world, the age barrier does not matter as much. So connecting with people that you know from your childhood, as far as maybe it's your next door neighbor's parents. You know, they're people that you know, and now you can start to get to know them on a professional level. Start with people like this that you know already that it would be kind of safe, comfortable people to connect with. It's not so scary. They'll probably accept you, not a big deal. Then start with people that you want to know. And this may be, start thinking strategically about your industry. So for me, when I first got out of college as an architecture student, I would have done a search for architects in Chicago because that was my immediate backyard. It made perfect sense. When they looked at my profile, they saw that I was an architectural intern in the Chicago area. It made perfect sense to connect with someone like me. Do a search, which you can easily do on your profile. So I can search for architect Chicago. And it will bring up a ton of people. And you can see here, you can filter your search by first, second, or third connection. A first connection is someone that you're already connected with. A second connection means that you guys both know someone in common, but you're not connected already. And a third connection means that you don't have anyone in common with yet. Now, let's say I really want to connect with, let me see if I can find someone. Let's say I want to connect with, I'm going to do a search for the third plus. It's going to recalibrate my search results. And let's say I really want to connect with George here, okay? I might then go do a search for BLDD architects. And I will look and see if I have any second connections, which I do. I have some second connections with these three people here. And I can look and see who I have in common. A former professor, a former student. I can then go to these people and say, hey, we both know the same people. I'd love to get connected with some more people within your architecture firm. Would you accept my connection request? I can request to connect with second connections. I can't request to connect with third connections unless I've paid for their premium profile or their premium account on LinkedIn. And in which case, you're limited to a quantity of in-mail messages that you can send to people that you're not connected with. Now, if you're being very proactive in the job search, this paying for the premium may be worth it, okay? So that's just a little bit about the basics of the connections, but think strategically about who you can connect with. And connect with people who know people you want to know. Sometimes you will connect with people solely for the purpose of getting closer to a connection that's going to be able to make a difference for you. There are different people in different organizations that have roles. Some people are decision makers and some are not. However, the people that aren't the big name decision makers as far as hiring could still be valuable to you, because if you know someone that works for a company, they can give a word of recommendation, they can help do an email introduction to the hiring manager. There's a lot that you can do by building relationships with other people in the companies, and you can do it all very digitally on LinkedIn. So think about networking and building your network to be bigger than it is. And LinkedIn provides you the opportunity to do that. And it's one of the things that a lot of college students could be using and don't. So by all means, please play around with that. Build up your profile to how they've got, and then start connecting with people. Then a huge piece of networking is staying in front of these people. And that's where interacting with your connections posts comes in handy. So I'm going to pop back over, and I'm going to go to my home button, and I am going to see here a whole news feed similar to Facebook, and it's a really great way, come on, there we go, really great way to see what's going on with my network. So I can see here that, let's see, let's find something good. I have people sharing articles and videos. I have some people sharing articles that they wrote. I can comment on posts that other people have done. Here's a space that a friend of mine has recently redone with their interior design, and so by hitting like and commenting and saying, congrats, it's gorgeous, I can put my face and name in front of Nancy Anderson on a regular basis. She will get a notification that Valerie Morris liked her post and Valerie Morris commented on it. Every time that you can put a face and a name in front of someone on a regular basis, you're reminding them that you are still relevant to their world. Okay? So that's one of the huge things that you're going to want to do. Now, sharing a post is another way that you can do it. So liking, sharing, and commenting on other people's content that they're putting out to the world is huge. Then you should be showcasing your experience and your expertise on a regular basis. And this is, again, something that may feel very foreign to a college student, but it is something that's extremely valuable. So you can post regularly by putting your own content out on LinkedIn. And you can do that when you pop back up and refresh the home. So at the top of your home page, you can share an article, post a photo. You can even post video now, which is a new thing. And by posting something on a regular basis, you are telling your network that you know something subtly about this topic. So when I make posts and share articles related to social media marketing, digital marketing, graphic design, all of that kind of stuff, if I'm sharing articles about that on a regular basis, it tells my network that, one, I'm still in business doing these things, I'm paying attention to these trends, and two, I know something about these trends. Okay? So sharing things on a regular basis tells people that I'm in the know and I'm the best person to work with because I know about stuff. Then publishing your own articles is another key way to exhibit your expertise. And so the best way to do that is when you're here at this home page, you can write an article, which will open up a whole nother window that almost looks like a blog space. And this is an opportunity to put a full-length article. The longer the content, the better. Short little blurbs really should go in LinkedIn posts, not a published article. People, when they're looking through articles, want to see longer form content. But the nice thing about this is every time you publish an article, your network gets the notification that Valerie Morris published an article, and they'll see a preview of the title of the article. I've had many people tell me in person that they see my articles all the time. They don't always hit like, they don't always comment on them, but they always, I very regularly have people say, oh, I saw your articles. Oh, I see you writing stuff all the time. I personally don't care if they read my article or not. If they understand that I am an expert in X, Y, and Z, and I'm keeping that message in front of them on a regular basis, they're going to come to me to hire me or refer me to a client rather than someone else. And so if you're trying to get a job in a specific industry, the more you can exhibit your expertise, the better you will be positioned. And writing articles is a very great way to do that. I'm going to pop back over to my profile, because the nice thing too is that when people are checking you out, let's say you've applied for a job, and it's in a specific industry and a specific niche, and you've written a handful of articles on that, you can see as I scroll through my profile, you've got your main section, the summary, and then the next part is your articles and activity. People can see that I've written 57 articles here. And so they can click on that, and it'll give them an opportunity to scroll through and read every single article if they want. So it's a really nice way for people to you can kind of tell people more in depth about your experience, especially if you're trying to get hired as a writer. This is a great way to exhibit your writing style without having to send a bunch of examples. So that's a really great, LinkedIn just has a ton of great tools for that. And then like we talked about earlier, adding projects to your profile and roles on your profile. Anytime that you can exhibit these levels of expertise, go ahead and do them. If it's a short-term thing, I would probably add it as a project rather than a role, because if you have a ton of different roles that are just 1 month long things, you may give the impression that you bounce from job to job. However, if you have a couple of key roles that have a little bit of longevity to them, but then you have a ton of projects, then that shows that, wow, this person is really involved in some, high-level responsibilities within these roles, and it really speaks to what you're doing. Now I'm going to pop back over to our profile here, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the job section. So one of the best things is being strategic about who you're connecting with on your, as you build your network to really go after jobs that you want. But know that LinkedIn has a huge resource of different jobs related towards various industries. And over the last 5 or 6 years, I've seen the LinkedIn job posts become higher and higher quality. They're they're an investment for a company to post on LinkedIn. And so if they're going to post a job on LinkedIn, it's costing them money. And so they are serious about looking for people in these roles. So if you are looking for a job for an architectural intern in Denver, Colorado, here's one that was posted 4 days ago. That's pretty relevant. Here's one for 3 weeks ago, which could still be relevant. You can see here that there's a handful of jobs. Now, there are certain industries that are higher for this than others, but don't miss out on applying for jobs via LinkedIn. More and more people are starting to think outside of the box in terms of how they are searching for candidates, how they're searching people out for candidates, and you can really get a little creative. Now the cool thing too is that here it shows that I have 2 connections that work at this firm. So I would probably be able to get some endorsements or get an email introduction to whoever is making the decision about this job because I have these 2 connections that work there currently. The other thing is that you can create search alerts. So if you're looking for specific types of jobs, you can get notifications sent directly to you. And then I would also recommend, if you are really serious about looking for a specific type of job after college, if you are having trouble, and I'm not really a huge fan of the paid versions, mainly because sometimes I'm just cheap. Sometimes I don't want to pay for the premium version. However, it's typically a month-to-month fee. So the nice thing is that you can pay for it for a few months while you're searching for a job. If you're having trouble getting some traction with specific, job searches that you're doing with the free version, I'd recommend trying the premium version. And what's neat about that is that it allows you to then in-mail people that you are not connected to. And I will tell you this, as we wrap up some of this discussion, initiative is one of the best things that you as a college student can do. Most of your peers will be shy, they will be fearful, or they will be lazy, and they will not take initiative. However, if you can take initiative and be proactive, you are going to stand out compared to most of the other folks that are going after entry-level jobs. Think about how you can set yourself apart and be different. And if you are active in taking LinkedIn professionally and seriously, like most people in the adult, they've already been in their careers for a while, you can take it seriously like they do, you are going to stand out from the rest of your age group. So I cannot stress it enough. LinkedIn has been a huge tool for me. There are so many more resources in it than there were when I was getting out of college. And you really can do a lot. So first of all, I'd love to stay connected with you guys. I know we didn't get to kind of put any faces with names on my end, but come find me. Feel free to email me. Feel free to find me on Twitter. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. And let me know that you heard my presentation tonight. Give me some context as to why you would want to connect. That's going to help me know, yes, I want to connect with you. Stay connected. Feel free to follow my company, and if I can be of any resource to you in the future, I would love to do that. One of my biggest things is I just love to see people succeed, and there are lots of things that I wish I knew when I was getting out of college that, looking back, it would have made the world a world of difference. So if you need any advice, need any tips or tricks, or just have quick questions, feel free to reach out. I would love to help you guys be successful in whatever you guys are doing. And with that, I will just say thank you for your time. Thank you for Hannah and the rest of the leadership for having me. And again, if there's any questions that you guys have after the fact, since we didn't get to do a live Q&A, feel free to reach out and send me any of those. And all of these resources with the PowerPoint will be available to you guys as well. You guys have a great day and a great evening. We'll talk to you later.